But God put it on my heart to share this dream with you because it could be something that you can use on your journey. So what happened was I went to sleep, what have you, and in this dream I saw this man, and he was a man that looked very familiar, someone that I knew of. I did not know this man. He was connected to someone that I knew in my past. And I thought of him highly, even though I didn't really know him per se. I knew of him, but I thought of him pretty highly in terms of our interaction in the short time that we did get a chance to get familiar with each other. So anyway, he had on this leather jacket. I don't know how significant that is, but I just call it the man with the leather jacket. And that's what I wrote. So he had on this leather jacket, and it was very dark and very gloomy outside. And he was staying across the hall, like across the way from me. And I saw a lady and I saw the guy, the man in the black leather jacket. And he looked over towards like where I was staying, the room area. And I was like sneaking around the corner looking, hoping that he didn't see me. Because I'm like one of those people, even in real life. Like, if I see somebody that I don't really talk to anymore, or someone associated with someone that I really don't talk to, and I see you, I'll try to hurry up and go in another vicinity because I just don't like the awkwardness of having to talk to someone or even acknowledging their presence. I don't know why I'm like that, but I am like that. But anyway, so I just kind of like was around the corner of the door, hoping that the guy didn't see me. And then I closed the door. Shortly after, some kind of a way, the guy ended up in my room area. I don't know how he got in my room or whatever. All I know is that the guy was in my room standing up. And he said, I need to tell you something. And I said, what? What do you need to tell me? He said, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to tell you something. And then the guy pulled up a chair, sat down, and he said, I'm sorry. And I said, well, how did you know I was here? He said, I saw you. I said, well, how did you see me? Because I didn't like make myself visible in the door. He says, I saw you, but you thought I didn't see you, but I did. And I said, oh, okay. He said, and I'm sorry. And I said, well, what are you sorry for? He said, someone lied on you. And this is the honest God's truth. This is my dream. He said, someone lied on you. And not only am I sorry, there are a lot of people who are sorry. I said, well, what are you guys sorry for if you wasn't the person that lied on me? He said, we believe the lies. The guy in the black leather jacket said that they believe the lies. Whatever the person has said about you, this was my dream, but whatever the person had said, they believed it. And then they held on to it. And there were many of them that believed this misrepresentation of you because of the person that they knew. And the guy said that not only was he sorry, there were many others that were also sorry. And I said, okay, it's fine. He said, no, we missed out. We missed out on you because we believed the lie. And I said, well, that's life. Things happen, it's life. I don't really remember much of the additional correspondence. I can't really account for that. I can't even reclaim what I said. So I don't really know, and I don't want to make up stuff about my dream. But I do know the man in the leather jacket, the black leather jacket, whom I did know of, didn't really know him, but someone that he was associated with knew me and misrepresented me on purpose and told these people horrific things. And the guy said that not only was he sorry, others were sorry because they missed out. So for the first time, I'm expressing this dream to you. Maybe this is your experience as well. Maybe you are a very exceptional person. And maybe the way that you have presented yourself seems to be maybe too good to be true. Maybe you even seem almost perfect in some people's eyes. And the only people that have gotten an opportunity to know you are the people that you allow to be close to you because of your selectiveness. And maybe you've had others who were around you, maybe they were not so secure within themselves. And it could be this thing where you made a decision to walk away, right? Just going on your own journey. Maybe it wasn't a beef, or maybe they didn't do anything to you at all, but you made a decision to walk away because you were going in a different direction in your life. And that person took you walking away and making a decision to go your own way as an opportunity to internalize that as some type of rejection, and wanted to punish you just because you made a decision to go on with your life, which is your human right. Keep in mind, you have a human right to just walk away and move on. And this individual was so damaged inside that they took you wanting to go a different direction in your life as rejection. And so for them, they needed to punish you for walking away. And that punishment looked like purposefully misrepresenting you. And they went around everyone that they knew or that knew of you in some capacity, and they purposefully told them horrific things about you. They did that in an effort to not only change people's perception of you, but also so no one would get close enough to find out the truth. They were hoping that people would not ever want to get to know you for real, or that they would have this narrative of you and their perception that they gave them of you, so that when they saw you, it was distorted. They could not really see you clearly or hear you clearly. So this individual did that for a very long time. And so what ended up happening is they did it with the intent to keep people away from you, but all it did was make people curious. So remember, I said I kind of was creeping off to the side in the dream, looking out the door, hoping that he couldn't see me. And he said, yeah, I still saw you. So maybe it was one of these things where I know I have this habit of blocking people that are associated with people who have no respect for me. If you've shown any disrespect towards me, or you don't care about me, then anyone that you are associated with, I'll block you. I'll block them as well. I'll block you. I'll block your family. I'll block your friends. I'll block any associates, anybody that you work with. I don't want any remembrance of you in my circumference or around me whatsoever. I want to get you out of the vicinity and clear of my mind, because I don't have anything nice to think of when it comes to you. So maybe it's one of these things where you walked away, the person slandered, smeared you, poorly misrepresented you, and then you decide to go block everyone, right? Hoping that no one will come across you. Like, I don't want any association with that person, or no one that is associated with that person. So you go and you block with the intent that no one will come across you anymore, and everybody can just forget about you, right? That's the freedom. And they didn't. And they found you. I don't know if it's your social media or what have you, but they found you, and they have been watching. And as time went on, as they could watch, they could see that the person had purposefully lied, that what they said did not match the demonstration or the presentation, and what they could clearly see with their eyes or hear with their ears. And so they had concluded that this person had lied. And the regret comes from the fact that they didn't get a chance to really get to know you independent of what was said. And so, in many ways, they were robbed of the experience of you, what you offer to this world and what you offer to life. And it comes with a melancholy and a somber and a regret that many people shared. And it wasn't just the man in the black leather jacket, it was others, he said, that also shared in that same sentiment. They were sorry that did not get a chance to really get to know who you were outside of what was stated. And it's so sad, because if you are a person who has a big purpose in life, then you know that most of your work in life is service to others. And you work with human beings, a lot of people, right? So because of your purpose and what God has called you to, you speak to the hearts of people, you speak to the minds of people, and you connect the dots for people and provide clarity for their lives. And you make people who were invisible feel seen, and people who felt like their words didn't matter feel heard. And people who have gone through brutal situations and life altering experiences now feel that their experience is validated. You bring hope to the hopeless, and you bring sight to the blind. And this person, in their brokenness and their insecurities, they did not want people to experience that because they don't have that. They're damaged. And you are love personified. And you have this just loving way. As much as you have been hurt, as much as you've been broken, as much as people have tried to damage you and traumatize you out of your mind, somehow you still have a heart and you can still feel. That is a miracle, especially for healers and empathic people, to be able to still feel in the realm where you were broken. Most of your issue is that you have been disappointed severely by people, and your emotions have been abused and exploited, and your heart has been broken, and your emotions have been used against you for and they have been um people have thought that that's naivety or some level of gullibility, but all the time it was just your nature, that you are philanthropic and you are humanitarian and you just love life and you love everything that is of life. That's your nature, no matter what you have tried to do, no matter how much darkness you've experienced, you just cannot go dark. You still remain in the light and of the light. And so people, I'm assuming, especially from the past, now looking in the present, being able to see with their own eyes and hear with their own ears, didn't get an opportunity to really find out the truth of your identity. And maybe in some ways connect with you in a way to where God could have really blessed them with your presence, or maybe your knowledge or your wisdom, or, some level of consult, or who knows. But they were robbed of that opportunity and that experience. And they are very regretful. Just because people do not say things doesn't mean that it is not so. And so I don't know who this is for. I know that came to me and I'm sharing that with you. But this around this time, because I talked about restoration a lot, a restoration and new beginnings. But around this time, for those who really didn't get any, I guess, maybe physical justice, just know that in the minds of people and in their hearts, they've already seen you. Even when you didn't really want to be seen by those particular people, there are people who have still seen you, and they were able to rightfully see that the math did not math and what was stated did not align. And they are so sorry that even if they never get a chance to tell you, and as you go off and you do all of these amazing things in life, and you get to live the life of your dreams or whatever that means to you, these people will never get a chance to tell you, I knew of you and blah blah blah. You know how people are when people go off and do all these great things, and then maybe they'll get famous or they'll get known and all this stuff, and only thing they can say is, I knew them. They really don't know you. And the opportunity was right there, but they said nothing. And they're heavy about that. So if this is your message, just know that there are so many people that think of you highly. They think of you highly. They're very proud of you, even though they didn't get a chance to really know you on a real serious personal level. They have watched your story. They have seen what this person has tried to do to you, and they've watched your, trials and tribulations play out, and they've seen what you made of your very difficult situation, and how you came out of the fire and you made something of yourself, and you took that situation and you just took off, and it did not break you. And so, even though people may not tell you this, they are inspired by you and they watch you faithfully, and they are motivated by the words that you speak and the demonstration that you display. And it is an incredible demonstration indeed, considering what you come from and the trials and tribulations that you've had and the challenges and adversities that you face. And people have seen you come from the bottom in real time and make something of what was given. We're talking about ruins. Make something of the ruins, the rubble, and actually build a foundation and create something out of that. Many people are inspired by what you have done, and they are regretful and they are sorry that they missed out. Now, what you choose to do with that is on you. For me, I never look back at all. I don't look back. I don't have any regrets. When I meet people, I show up as myself. Now, is it perfect? Not necessarily, but I show up as my authentic self. And I try to make sure people have a real human experience. I don't like fake and I don't do fake. I don't do a lot of gossip. I don't mean people any harm. I show up pure in heart. And if, I start noticing a shift in the energy, I go on about my business because I don't have time for no more tears and no more broken hearts. So if you are also the same, I would definitely say to forgive. Yeah, forgive. As you move forward and not look back, just forgive people. They did not know what they did not know. And that's just how the cookie crumbles in life. Sometimes we miss out on good things. We miss out on great experiences with people. We bandwagon, we jump on the hate train. And if that person is indeed who they are, they're going to continue to be who they are. Even if you lie on a great person and they continue to be great, the greatness doesn't just erase just because you wanted to. The greatness doesn't go anywhere just because you told a whole bunch of lies. Greatness remains great because that is what it is. It's true at heart. And if you are consistent in your authenticity, you can just dispel lies, rumors, false narratives, false misrepresentations, accusations that are trying to attach itself to your identity by just continuing to be yourself. You don't have to force people to see, no, I'm not like that. You create the contrast by being the exact embodiment of who you are. And in time, which is what I love about consistency and persistency, time will reveal the truth. A lie gets around the corner way faster than the truth. It will take a long time before the truth comes out. And then, even when the truth is revealed, you can hear rat piss on cotton because people don't want to say, I was wrong about you. I don't know what it is with human beings, but it's embarrassing to say you believe the worst and you never really got an opportunity to even know the person. You just believe whatever. Everybody, I guess, is not critical in their thinking, and perhaps everybody's not emotionally intelligent. But if you are going on and being disparaging about a person that you was once associated with, my first thought is, what's your motive? That's my first thought. Now, one time you speak negative, okay, that's a one time, that's a one off, that's isolated. If you are consistently trying to force me to see the person as something nasty and negative and you're throwing the person under the bus, but I never really got a chance to experience them the way that you're saying that they are, I'm going to think that there is a motive. Because why are you doing that? I don't know them, or I really don't know them like that. So every time you're talking, you're saying something nasty. And then what's your association with the person? Okay. And then I will go and see if the person is talking about you. If they're never talking about you and you're always talking about them in a nasty way, then I kind of pretty much can put the math together. Okay. Maybe you're spiteful. Maybe you're bitter. Maybe you're scorned. Is something going on with you? Maybe you're mad that the person doesn't want anything to do with you. And so you can kind of put it together. But after a while, people will start to see that you were misrepresented. And there's no coming back from that because many people are not going to come back and just say, I'm sorry. And you'll be like, sorry for what? And then also, too, you may not really personally know these people. They just may have known of you. Maybe they've seen you around town. Maybe they've heard of your name or something. So they don't really know you. It's like a vague thing. But to see you and witness you consistency, especially if you're putting yourself out there, then people get to see like this person is inspirational. This person is very knowledgeable. You said that they were all of these horrible things, but then when I go see them, year in and year out, month to month, or what have you. They're nothing like that. They're actually the opposite of what you said. And it makes you, especially if you are associated with a person who blatantly lies, especially narcissistic people, they're pathological liars, they're impulsive liars, they'll lie on impulse, they're pathological liars, they lie in patterns, and they'll lie just to make themselves feel good in the moment. But they never expect for that to come back to bite them in the butt. And it does change people's perception of them, because why did you lie? Why? Why did you say all those horrible things about that person? And it's clear. The evidence shows that it's not true. I can see if it cannot be proven, but it can be proven that what you said, and however horrible it was that you said, it's not true. And the fact that you won't go back and you won't even apologize. When we look at Saul and David, he gave a false apology. It wasn't a real repentance. He gave a false apology when David spared his life. But for a lot of you guys, you've moved on from maybe the person who tried to cause you hell or the people who tried to derail your life. You've gone on with your life, even in spite of what was said or what was done to you to traumatize you. You still decided to pick up the pieces and what was left and go on. And they still did not make it right. They still never told you that, hey, I participated in something that caused you pain, and I'm sorry, I can't go to sleep at night. My heart is filled with guilt, right? They still won't tell you, even if it is a false repentance or a false apology. It's called pride. But the man in the black leather jacket told me that he was sorry. And he didn't really owe me an apology because he was associated with someone that I was once associated with. He wasn't my friend. He wasn't anybody that I really had a personal relationship with. But yet and still, his heart was heavy because he didn't get a chance to get to know me and to get to see me in all of my glory and to be regretful. I decided to release that. I said, I'm okay, that's all good. You're human. You don't know what you don't know. You didn't know me, you know? I pray that you use better judgment next time. And I pray that you be mindful of the people that you are associated with and their motives when it comes to people. We do not know people. Just because you see somebody at a certain place in life right now doesn't mean that you know the totality of where they're going to be tomorrow. You have no idea who people are going to be. If you look at people like Oprah's and all of these other people, I'm just throwing out a name. She didn't really take off until like she was in her late 40s, 50s. Vera Wayne, J.K. Rowling, all of these people. You do not know people. Just because someone is at point A and they appear to be at their bottom in life, whatever that means, maybe tragedy, especially generational curse breakers. We're late bloomers in life. So, and we come from families where they traumatize us on purpose to try to sabotage our futures and our destinies. So, just because you see somebody going through abuse or going through a tough time in life and trying to make their way through and navigate the challenges of life, it doesn't mean that they're always going to be down there. And it doesn't have anything to do with their capabilities and their talents or their gifts and what they can offer this world. So just because you look at someone and you see them going through a tough time in life, never write people off. You have no idea who you are in the presence of and who they are going to be tomorrow, especially if they are resilient and they are fighters at heart. It's those people who did not get the approval of people or get the grace and the mercy of people who end up being exactly what this world needs to be because God has called them, God has approved them, and God has validated them. It wasn't the people. And if you look at King Saul and you look at David, who then later became King David, Saul was mad because David was not necessarily the people's choice. As a matter of fact, he wasn't the people's choice at really much of his seasons in life. When he was a little shepherd boy, he wasn't the people's choice because they looked over him and they chose his brothers and wanted to give those opportunities to his brothers. And so there are many people who thought that they were better than you And whatever their prejudice and their biases were, or wherever part of town maybe you were born in, or you didn't know this person, or you didn't know these people, or whatever their biases and prejudice were, they thought they were better than you, but they did not know you. They didn't know your capabilities. They didn't know your intelligence level. They didn't know your capacity. They didn't know. They just went off of some limited vision, and then they came up with this prejudice idea and concluded that, oh, you're not going to go anywhere. Oh, you don't really know anyone. Oh, you came from that side of town or that side of the tracks. What are you really going to do? Who do you really know? How much resources do you really have? So they had concluded that you were not going to be a big deal in life. Maybe you'll be average or below, but they did not know you. And just like that man that I tried to hide from, I did try to hide, but still and yet he saw me. And so for me and others who have gone through life altering events and things that could have really taken us down through there, we've still, in spite of the challenges and the traumas that we face, we still made ourselves visible in some kind of way. And that's in that visibility opened doors that people thought were never going to happen for us, considering the fact of all of the disadvantages that seem to have been stacked against us. And even in spite of our disadvantages and the odds being against us, God still made do, and he made some type of way where there appeared to be no way. And we're not even in our final form. So going back to Saul and David, David was never really the people's choice, but he was God's choice. And what ended up happening is God ushered in the authority to David. You know how many people were probably regretful that they didn't get a chance to associate it with David pre-king status when he was just a foot soldier for Saul? There are a lot of people who are very regretful that they didn't get to know you pre whatever you are and what you are about to become. They're mad about that. So they can't say, oh, yeah, I was right there riding with them. I was the one right there saying, you could do it. I knew they were going to, this was going to happen for them. I knew they were going to pop off. They did not know. And for many people, because they believe lies, they didn't want it to happen. Like, oh, yeah, that person ain't capable of doing nothing. And for as long as you are consistently showing up, the lies are being dispelled and they missed out. And they can't go back and reach out to you, obviously, because the access is denied. You don't get to just lie on people and then spread a lie. You don't get to just believe a rumor and then just spread it. That hurts people's lives. You're destroying people's mental. You're destroying people's emotional state. You're messing up people's opportunities. You're altering the way that people see people. You don't get to just lie, cause a person pain, and then when it later comes out that it's not the truth, what about all the damage that was done in this person's life prior to them picking up the pieces? What if they had never picked up the pieces? What if their confidence was shattered for life, forever? What if they were not strong enough to handle the lies and the slander and the smearing? What if they were not able to come back and bounce back from that? What then? Would you then be sorry? What if they never become somebody, whatever that means, and have some type of significant status? Would you be regretful then? The moral of the story is treat people properly the first time. Whenever you get an opportunity to meet someone in any season of your life, treat people properly the first time, because you do not know who you're entertaining. Older people used to say, be careful how you treat people because you could be entertaining an angel. You don't know who people are. You don't know the depths of a person's soul. You don't know if that person is an angelic being in the flesh, if they can actually aid and assist you. Just because you think you're somewhere in life doesn't mean people cannot be helpful to you right where you are and where they are. Just because you think someone is beneath you and you got more money or you know more people, it does not mean that this person cannot aid in your life, because you do not know who they are at heart and in their spirit. So when you encounter people, treat people right the first time. Because just like you went up, you can surely come down. And just like they were down, they can surely go up. That's the elevator of life.